It always is a delight to be here to talk about one social issue or another that has made headlines, but maybe attention wasn't given to it enough. So we'll bring it here on the other side of the news, the program called Flipside, and we deal with it. Well, this one has not made news yet. Today we'll be talking about the International Day for the Awareness of Food Loss and Reduction. So it's an awareness day for tomorrow. This international observance is actually on the 29th of September, but we're going to start our own awareness before the day. It's just us doing our duties as a journalist. Okay, you know, with the rising cost of food and a lot of people being hungry, many people do not give attention to the fact that maybe someday we could just be in a world where there's no food. Imagine such a picture. But on this day, we want to enlighten the public. We want to draw attention to the fact that a lot of people are hungry in the world already. So because you're not one of them, doesn't mean you might not become one of them if you don't plan well. And then again, when we're talking about food loss, food waste, I saw statistics on the UN page that shocked me, saying that 17% of the food we are producing goes bad or is wasted between the point of production to the stand where you're going to sell them. And I realized that this is a big issue. Go around our markets and you see decaying food and fruits on the ground that maybe consumers did not buy. And you're wondering, before it got to this stage, why did they not sell it? You know, a lot of issues, but food is being wasted every day. And while we're wasting food, people are hungry. Today we will talk about this. We're going to draw attention to the public sector, to the private sector, that they need to be on the ground. Their hands need to be on deck to put a stop to food waste. But you know how we do on Flipside. My name, by the way, is Daisy Leo Asikidi. We'll go on a short break where we'll take the UN message on this international observance. When we come back from the break, you will meet my guest and we'll start talking about awareness on food loss reduction and food waste reduction. We'll be right back.
Worldwide, 30% of food is lost or wasted.
All right, thank you for staying with us. My name again is Daisy Leo Asikidi, your host on today's edition of the show. I have Professor Joel Abulagba with me in the studio.
Thank you.
This is the second
Daisy.
time I'm having him here on Flipside, and I'm so
That's
glad you could make it again today.
Thank
He's a professor from the University of Benin, a professor of aquaculture. He's the director of Center for Excellence Sector for Excellence in Aquaculture and Food Technology.
Yeah.
Good to have you again
Thank
here.
you very much, Daisy. It's a pleasure to be here again.
Yeah, it's my pleasure to have you. We're talking about food loss, food wastes, and I need to understand what they are. You know, when I was talking about it just now, you said, I'm mixing it up. That's the professor talking. So let's understand the definition. What is food loss, what is food waste, and the difference between both.
Okay. food waste, or let's start from food loss. Food loss occurs at the different stages of production. When you produce, when you harvest, during post-harvest, during distribution and storage. That's when you have food loss. But food wastage occurs at the tail end of the chain when it's supposed to be consumed and it's not consumed. It's meant for consumption and then it's not consumed, it's now discarded. That is now termed as food waste.
Oh, interesting.
So that's the difference.
Oh, okay. Okay, now I know.
Yes.
All right. So for those of us who, when we are served food in events, at events, we don't clear our plate. You know, they'll even tell you that etiquette for eating, you don't clear your plate. Just eat a bit of everything and leave the rest. So are we doing the right thing?
Not at all. We're not doing the right thing. When you are being served a meal, for instance, most people stand to be served. So when your plate is being dished, you should be able to tell whoever is dishing the plate for you that you are okay with whatever he or she has given you. Why wait until they heap a whole lot of meal into the plate and then you take it out there to eat and you can't finish it? It's a disservice to nature for you to have food and then you cannot finish it and then nobody else wants to eat it. And when this food gets thrown away, it goes on to affect the ozone layer because it decays and all that, emits gases that affect the ozone layer. So you find out that you are not only causing disservice to other people who are hungry, you are also causing problems for the environment.
To the planet.
Yes, to the planet.
Wow, didn't think it was that serious. Okay, but what causes food loss? Well, what are the causes of food loss? Because I don't see any reason why I'm going to plant something and then I'll let it get bad. So what could possibly be wrong?
Yes, a whole lot of things can go wrong. When food plants, you plant your crops, you want to harvest, and you don't use the proper implements to harvest them. Losses start occurring from there.
Oh.
Yes. Then you also have the ones caused by pests. If the right pesticides or chemicals are not applied when they're supposed to be applied, insects, rodents, and so many other pests attack the crops and they damage them. Losses occur from that point in time. Then after the harvest, once you are transporting the products, if the transportation is not right for it, you find out that majority of the food that has been harvested, the crops go bad. For instance, if they are bringing in tomatoes, it's not well packed in containers that should be used in packing tomatoes. You find out that by the time they get to where they want to offload, most of the tomatoes have gone bad. Not only that, when they are discharging, if they are not careful, you find out that a lot also go bad. Watch when they are discharging yam tubers, for instance. They throw the yam tubers to themselves, and anyone that drops is already injured. It's broken or injured and cut into pieces. So losses occur along the line. Then when they are also stored in the warehouse or wherever they want to store the food items, if it's not properly stored, it goes bad easily. So those ones that are not now ending up on tables, they are lost along the line. So these are things that could go. And then also for our roads. Our road system are very bad. And so you find out that a lot of bumps, gallops, potholes, and all that are all over the place. And then vehicles coming with these goods just find it difficult. They meander through the bad spots and all. And then these food items hit on each other and all. And then they get bruised. And once it's bruised, it's opened up for, insects and then for the goods to go bad, to go rotting. So these are the causes of losses of food crops.
But what of food waste? Because now, let's say you've bought the food.
Yes.
Why would anyone let their food go to waste? It beats me hollow.
Yes, well, I just tell you this. Some people are just greedy. We have gluttons. who will dish food more than they can eat. And you will be surprised that some persons will be there, they will even buy food with their own money, and they will not be able to finish the food. And so you'll be wondering, you should know the capacity of your stomach, or you know how hungry you are. So buy the quantity of food that you are able to finish at a go. Don't want to impress anybody by buying so much food that you cannot finish. But if you go to parties, because food is served free, many persons want to take as many, as much food as they can.
Especially women.
Yeah, oh no. You see them, though now that there is hunger in the land, you find out that a lot more persons take food so that they can have a little bit more, which they can pour into cellophane and take home. So I don't see wastages happen like that now. Losses happen more than wastages. Recently, we went to parties and we're trying to get leftovers for dog, and it was difficult. Whereas before it was the norm that when you go to parties, there are a lot of leftovers and all that. But now you just have bones and little food. It shows that there's hunger in the land. There's hunger.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay, what are the dangers we're in for if we do not prevent these food wastes and food losses?
Well, there is the problem is that we are not yet food secure in Nigeria. And even in the world, we are not yet food secure. If I give you some statistics that about losses and what it comes to, it's mind-boggling. Actually, it's scary. Very quickly, for maize, for instance, for maize, for this country, we have 25% total losses with a value of about $782 million. Yes, 10.4 million tons total volume produced of the 10.4 million tons. Then for tomatoes, that one is even worse. There is 76% total losses for tomatoes out of the 4.1 million tons produced, which gives a value of $2.4 billion. You see, tomatoes. Then for fish, catfish. For catfish, 34% total losses out of the 190,000 tons total volume produced, giving us a total of 133 million US dollars. So, if you look at what is lost, it's huge.
Yeah.
That's money that would have come to farmers who have labored so much to produce these goods and these products, these crops and these animals, and then it doesn't get into their pocket. So there is poverty occasioned by these losses, which translates to hunger eventually, because there will be no sufficient fund to take care of their other needs. So, and then the land and the resources that have been put in is wasted. So you find out that it's a very serious effect. And many people will go hungry because the food that is produced is not available for consumption. It goes bad. Yeah. Have you ever wondered that when you go to the markets, New Benin, for instance, you see during mango season, during orange season, cashew, all the fruits, I'm talking about fruits now, you will just see a whole lot that's gone bad. Flies oozing and so, and I mean, people are there hungry, but these products have gone bad and they're just there. Nothing's going to happen to them. They're going to throw them away. And so it portends grave danger, and a lot of people go to the bed hungry. They are not supposed to go to bed hungry. Because if we have sufficient products, then the food prices will drop, and then many more persons will be able to afford the products and the food items.
Okay, there was a project that was done in the U.S. they called it Project Drone. And they said one of the ways CO2 is emitted into the atmosphere is from the decaying of these food waste and food loss and all that. So are you saying, is that serious? The number of food decaying, is it serious enough for us to worry?
It is. It's serious enough for us to worry because
for the emission of gases.
Little drops of water makes a mighty ocean. So if you throw away 2 or 3 mango fruits onto the backyard, for instance, allow it rotting for about 2-3 days, you go past there and you perceive the kind of smell, pungent smell that comes out from the rotting mangoes, rotting cashew, rotting maize, rotting things generally. You find out that they emit this gas, this CO2, and it goes to affect the ozone layer. Eventually, when it's gathered together, look at the quantity of mango, oranges that are going bad and that are stacked there, you know. So it's a whole lot.
Interesting. All right, you're watching Flipside on independent television, and we're talking about ways to reduce food loss and food waste. We've been talking about the effects if we do not prevent those wastages and losses. You know, there's something about the food waste he talked about that made me remember one method I learned over time. They'll tell you when you're eating very delicious food, you know, you know your gauge, Sha. You've eaten it, but the food is just so nice, so you always want more. It's not because you're not full, but because the food is nice. And you know that most times when you take that more, you will not finish it. Second servings are never as delicious as the first one. Never.
That's right.
So I now had to learn that most times when I go for a second serving, I don't enjoy it as much. I'm even tired before I get the food from the kitchen. So whatever I've taken for the first, I will have to stay with that. And if I must eat again, I would wait a while, at least 4 hours before I eat again, so I can enjoy the second time I'm eating. So we all need to start developing methods to ensure that we don't waste food. I think so.
Yes.
So we'll talk a little bit more about this, but we're going to go on another break quickly. When we return, we'll talk some more.
Worldwide, 30% of food is lost or wasted. This averages out to 614 kilocalories per person every single day, about the same as 10 medium eggs or 21 large carrots. But wait, what does this have to do with climate change? When food is lost or wasted, all of the resources that went into making it are wasted too. Globally, this accounts for 1.4 billion hectares of wasted land and 250 kilometers cubed of wasted water every year. That's a land area larger than Canada and India put together, and enough water to fill up 100 million Olympic-sized swimming pools. What's more, food loss and waste are responsible for 8 to 10% of global greenhouse gas emissions. These emissions not only come from the production and transportation of the wasted food, but they also come directly from the rotting food itself, when it is broken down by microorganisms. Despite all this waste, in 2019, nearly 1 in 10 people around the world were exposed to severe food insecurity. Reducing food loss and waste by just 50% would provide enough food to feed all of these people, and then some. Although food losses occur at all stages of the food supply chain, their main cause varies between different countries. In wealthier countries, more than 40% of food loss and waste occur at the retail and consumer stage, largely due to consumer behavior and food supply exceeding demand. Food losses in lower income countries mostly occur earlier in the supply chain due to poor harvesting techniques, insufficient storage and cooling facilities, and a lack of infrastructure for food transport and marketing. So, what can we do to reduce all of this food loss and waste? Well, let's begin at the start of the supply chain. We need to reduce food losses on the farm itself. Suboptimal conditions, such as not enough water and too much heat, significantly reduce the growth potential of food crops. And 20 to 40% of crops globally are lost to insect pests, weeds, and diseases. Global soil quality is also degrading, making it harder for plants to access the nutrients they need to grow, and forcing farmers to rely on artificial fertilizers. By improving soil quality and exploiting natural interactions between plants, animals, and their environment, farmers can improve crop yields whilst reducing waste and resource use. Providing farmers with effective harvesting technologies will also be important, as food is often lost to damage or spillage during the harvesting process. One of the biggest causes of food loss in lower-income countries is storage. If food is left somewhere that is too hot or too damp, it can easily spoil or rot. Improving storage facilities and transport infrastructure can therefore significantly reduce losses. If lower-income countries had the same access to refrigeration as richer nations, food losses would be reduced by 25%. To solve this problem, we need to develop low-cost, off-grid solutions for food preservation, such as mobile, solar-powered storage. Food processing and more durable packaging can also prevent food spoilage during storage, transport, and at the consumer stage. Although we would need to consider the sustainability of the packaging that is used. Even so, innovation can only get us so far. Retailer and consumer behaviors will also need to change. For example, supermarkets set very high standards for what food should look like, meaning that imperfect food is often discarded, even if it's perfectly edible. Embracing these ugly foods at both the retail and consumer level will significantly reduce how much gets thrown away. Restaurants, retailers, and caterers can also reduce their waste by selling food in more appropriate portions, and by donating uneaten goods to those who are unable to afford them. But what can we do as individuals? Well, we can start by planning ahead and only buying what we need. We can cook with leftovers and use our freezers to keep food fresh for longer. As well as encouraging less wasteful practices, we also need to be more aware of how to store food properly and how to tell if food is still safe beyond its expiration date. As the world gets richer, consumer-level food waste is likely to become more and more of a problem. Therefore, it is vital that people are aware of the impacts of food waste and what they can do to make a difference.
Thank you so much for staying with us. The program, of course, is Flipside, and we're talking about awareness on food reduction and food loss reduction and food waste reduction. I have Professor Joel Abulagba in the studio with me. He's a professor of aquaculture. He's a food technician, technologist. All right.
Post-harvest technologist.
Okay, food.
Fish post-harvest technologist.
Okay, fish post-harvest technologist. All right, we're going to be talking a little bit more on food loss and waste reduction. And I'm going to ask this question. You know, it's almost like a forbidding thing, a taboo for a Nigerian to go to an event and not ask for extras. It's also strange that even on the high table, you see how the very sophisticated people are put on the high table. You give them food, they leave some. They even leave their bottle of wine. People from the back cannot allow that thing go, especially the wine. They will put it in their bag. We always want to put something in our bag to say we came from a party. But what role can education play in ensuring that food loss and food waste can be prevented?
Well, it's just the general education from the homes that you should learn to eat, you know, in bits and pieces and sufficiently to take care of what you need, and don't go looking for eating as if there was no tomorrow. Once that has been imbibed from the home, you find out that when you go to functions, definitely people will be so educated that they don't have to go out of their bounds to go into the high table to be struggling for leftovers on the high table. It's just a very bad thing. It's an eyesore. Each time I attend parties, I see people that are just, well, it's a poverty of the stomach and poverty of the mind. And you see even supposedly sophisticated persons also going to take such drinks. And you'll be wondering whether they don't have money to buy such drinks. They do. But it's just that greed, that greedy nature in them. And so we need to educate people and let them know that there's no need to struggle for these things and all that. And that it does not speak well of you to go struggling for drinks that have been served to persons other than yourself, and then to want to take it home. What point?
Interesting.
Yeah.
All right, now, what things can we abide? What methods do you think the developed nations are taking in that is ensuring that their food loss ratio is reduced? Ours is still on the high side. So what can we do? What are they doing different that we should get so that our own percentages will be dropping?
Yes, first of all, from the field, they have good harvesting techniques. They have good handling techniques. And when they come to the store, they also package properly. When they are transporting, they transport well in approved transportation vehicles that will take the products. When you see what they use to transport pigs, it's different from what is used to transport tomatoes, different from what is used to transport fish. But in Nigeria, you just see a trailer, one truck, transports everything and anything, and can transport pig today, tomorrow transport gari. No, you don't do that. So then the road system should be improved upon. The checks on the roads should be Spartan. If you come from, there was a day I was traveling from Ijebu-Ode. From Ijebu-Ode to Benin, I counted 67 roadblocks. Physical counting, 67 roadblocks. And now, if you have a vehicle that is bringing in agricultural produce from that end coming to Benin, you're going to stop that vehicle 67 times, checking and checking. Before you get to already, products are already going bad. So those must be removed from the way. Then the road must be good so that there are no potholes and bad spots that may even cause accidents and the products will go bad. And then also the packaging techniques, the refrigeration, our cooling system, the cold chain system. Do we have regular electricity to talk about having good cold chain system? There are some products that within 1 hour of no refrigeration, it starts going bad. So not to talk of here, we have a whole day and 2 days, 3 days, no light.
Month.
And then people put on their generators. Diesel is so expensive, so they want to cut corners to be able to extend the time the diesel will be sufficient for them to cool things. So you find out that there's always a problem. So we need to address all these things so that our products can be in good condition, and that will reduce losses extensively.
Interesting.
Yes.
Okay, and the last question I will have on this discussion today would be, what can government do different? Yes, they're still doing, you've already said a few, but what can they do different to ensure food security? Because Nigerians we always feel there's going to be hunger. There is hunger, it's true, but we do not believe there's food for tomorrow. So we go to events, we're showing ourselves, we go to global meetings where we're seeing other nationals coordinating themselves. We are hustling for food. We are running around to get even food we cannot finish. But because we have this mindset, maybe we chop now, we don't know about tomorrow. The one where you chop, might be your own. So what can government do different to ensure food security?
Well, there is the need to support the farmers by way of making availability of high quality seeds, then help them in land preparation, and also help them in warehousing their produce, so that there will be secured grains, crops, fruits, and all that. Once that is done, and then you have good light. Good light is very, very important. Sustained light, regular light, and then that can help those who want to, chill their products, to chill them so that they will be in high quality status. Then, when you do that, you'll find out that there will be availability of the food, of the grains, of the crops all year round, and then hunger will reduce drastically, and then also the lives, people needs to be well, catered for. There needs to be enough employment, and then so that people will have enough money to buy food. We are talking about Nigerians going to international fora and disgracing themselves because there's hunger in the land. If you are sure that your next meal is given, why are you looking for something to take or keep in your pocket so that in case there's nothing tomorrow, you have something to eat? It is when food is not a problem that you see that people in the other climes, food is not a problem. Food is given. It's a given normal. So there's no need for you to be struggling for the next meal because it's going to come. Food is cheap and available.
Yes.
So
food
that is it.
Cheap.
It's cheap. Food is cheap. It's available.
Very cheap.
And it's clean. It's good.
I have a friend.
Can I tell you that a cup of maize now, 150, 150 naira for one cup of maize.
That we bought 15 naira last
50
year.
naira, 20 naira. It's now 150. And what is causing that is insecurity, mainly. Because the farmers are chased away from their farms by the killer herdsmen, and so there's nobody to farm. Even when you farm, you can't harvest because it will be eaten up by cow and all that. So you find out that if you go along the way now, you want to buy maize, they tell you it's not ready. Why? They go to far distances to buy maize that they cook or that they smoke.
Yeah.
So that's it. It's part of insecurity that is causing food insecurity. Life insecurity is causing food insecurity. Yes.
It's the ripple effect. So it's just going round.
So
and
there
round
must be
and
security.
in
There
all-
must
all
be
round
provision of
security.
normal amenities that will enable the food to be secure.
Well, it is really a sad one because food is very important, just like clothing, just like shelter. These are basic things, basic amenities.
Yes.
A friend of mine just came back from Canada, and she said she was there for about a year. She went for a training, and they gave her a year visa, so she decided to just finish the whole year, which is regular. So she went there, and she said the first day they ordered pizza as dinner. So she was like, pizza for dinner? I said, yeah, pizza. So the pizza came with chips and chicken. She said, if you see chicken. I was laughing at her. I'm like, did you not read about the place before you went there? Food is available. Food is
Yes,
cheap.
food is cheap and available.
So she said, babe, I ate chicken.
Yeah.
I'm tired of chicken. It's okay,
Yes.
don't worry. Welcome back to Nigeria. Go and buy one fowl from market now. Then you know what it costs. Well, we really need to make food cheap. If food is cheap and everybody can afford it, there won't be this greed to keep. It's just food. I can always get it. And with good education, would learn that it's not because it's cheap, we should now start wasting it. Would also know how to preserve. When you have leftovers and you want to keep them in the refrigerator and there's no light, what happens? You end up disposing of it.
That's
and
right.
The waste will just continue over and over again. Well, before we leave the studio, we have a short documentary on our health. It's about water and the reasons why you need to take enough. I personally have an alarm now that reminds me to take a glass of water every 1 hour, 30 minutes. And I think it's really helping. It's helping me a lot. For health reasons though, but it's good. I'm seeing even other benefits of it apart from even the health part of it. So let's quickly watch that short video. When we come back, we'll just have our guest professor say his last words on this topic and we'll be out. Did you know that your body weight is approximately 60% water? Your body uses water in all its cells, organs, and tissues to help regulate its temperature and maintain other bodily functions. Because your body loses water through breathing, sweating, and digestion, it's important to rehydrate by drinking fluids and eating foods that contain water. The amount of water you need depends on a variety of factors, including the climate you live in, how physically active you are, and whether you are experiencing an illness or have any other health problem. Water does more than just quench your thirst and regulate your body's temperature. It also keeps the tissues in your body moist. You know how it feels when your eyes, nose, or mouth gets dry? Keeping your body hydrated helps it retain optimum levels of moisture in these sensitive areas, as well as in the blood, bones, and the brain. In addition, water helps protect the spinal cord, and it acts as a lubricant and cushion for your joints. Just like the other organs of your body, skin is also made of several cells. Whether you want shinier hair, younger skin, a healthier body, or all three of these, pure, clear water is the world's best beauty elixir. For centuries, people in Eastern Europe have gone to bathhouses for water therapy to detoxify and tighten their skin. The process involves a steam room session to open pores, followed by a cold pool plunge to shock skin. This can easily be replicated at home by bathing with warm water, which will open your pores, and then you can seal them by splashing with cold water afterwards. Water is essential to maintain the optimum skin moisture and deliver essential nutrients to the skin cells. It replenishes the skin tissue and increases its elasticity. It helps delay appearance and signs of aging like wrinkles and fine lines. Water is a perfect replacement for your expensive anti-aging treatments. It keeps the skin well hydrated and glistening, thereby enhancing complexion. So, for soft and supple skin, drinking an adequate amount of water is more important than applying topical creams. Drinking enough water combats skin disorder like psoriasis, wrinkles, and eczema. It also increases the metabolic rate and improves digestive system to flush out toxins from the body. This in turn gives you a healthy and glowy skin, plus water plumps the skin cells, making them look less wrinkled. A nice cold shower and a relaxing bath calms the nerves and reduces stress-related damage to the skin. Soak your entire body in cold water for 2 to 3 minutes to rejuvenate the skin. Long exposure of skin to water can strip off the natural oils, so please don't stretch your bathing or shower duration. 2 to 3 minutes is just okay. A cold water compress can also help to reduce under-eye inflammation. As water evaporates from the skin, the surface becomes cooler. Splashing cold water on the eyes can also reduce eye puffiness. When there is a loss of water, the kidney cannot function at its best, making it shed excess burden on the liver. The liver helps to burn off the fat in our body into energy. But when it has to do the excess work of the kidney, it cannot burn as much fat into energy as it should, resulting in fat deposit. Take water in good quantity, at least 8 glasses a day, to prevent fat deposit and to keep yourself healthy. So, you can say that losing weight is one of the advantages from drinking water. Water also helps in removing waste from the body. Adequate water intake enables your body to excrete waste through perspiration, urination, and defecation. The kidneys and liver use it to help flush out waste, as do your intestines. Water can also keep you from getting constipated by softening your stools and helping move the food you've eaten through your intestinal tracts. Water prevents you from becoming dehydrated.
Your body loses fluid when you engage in vigorous exercise, sweat in high heat, or calm down with a fever, or contract an illness that causes vomiting or diarrhea. If you're losing fluids from any of these reasons, it is important to increase your fluid intake so that you can restore your body's natural hydration levels. Your doctor may also recommend that you drink more fluids to help treat other health conditions like bladder infections and urinary tract stones. If you are pregnant or nursing, you may want to consult with your physician about your fluid intake because your body will be using more fluids than usual, especially if you are breastfeeding. The big question is, how much water do you need? There's no hard and fast rule, and many individuals meet their daily hydration need by simply drinking water when they're thirsty. But if you are not sure about your hydration level, look at your urine. If it is clear, you are in good shape. If it is dark, you are probably dehydrated. Drink lots of water, at least 8 glasses a day, to get a beautiful, healthy body and a glowy skin. Your body is your responsibility. Please take good care of it.
Majority of those who are hungry, they are even in Nigeria. So we need to make sure that there is availability of food so that everyone will have something to eat, and then the population, the country will be happy. All the problems that are going on in this country is related to hunger.
Yeah.
Those who are kidnapping, those who are killing, those who are stealing, if they have enough food to eat, they will not think of having to commit crime so much. So it's a whole lot of things that could be solved by putting food in people's stomach. Thank you.
Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you so much.
I had to seize this document from him, and I'm going to go home and study it very much.
Okay.
But 2 things that really caught my attention is the amount of money for a nation who seem to be borrowing a whole lot of money because we don't have. We are losing too much money. We are just losing money, and we don't know we are losing money, or we don't care enough. Imagine the amount of money we're losing yearly from maize, from wastage of maize. We're talking about $782 million. If you convert this in Naira, your head will bust. Seriously. Now, tomatoes is the height. So we're talking about 2.4 billion US dollars from losses from tomato yearly. That's over the years. Just calculate how much we've lost that we could have used. We could have turned these tomatoes to paste.
Yes.
We could have turned it to some kind of puree and kept in a bottle and sell. Or we just let these things go. Then when you talk about catfish, which by the way is now very expensive, we've lost over $133 million from catfish. And then you now tell me to come and buy one small barbecue fish to 5. We need to do a lot to ensure that we're not losing food. If we're not losing food, food will be cheaper. If we're not losing food, we'll also not be we'll have dignity when it comes to events too. We won't be rushing because we have food. Government, the public sector, the private sector, all hands must be on deck to ensure that our farm produces are not being lost like this. And when we've already gotten the finished goods, we consumers, please eat with sense. Be sure of what you're doing. Don't waste food. Do not waste food. It's not right to do so. I'm Daisy Leo Asokidi. Thanks a lot for staying with us. We'll be back again next week with another social issue on Flipside. Bye.